Testing, testing. You can hear yourself?
I can, yeah.
Yeah?
Weird.
It's weird?
Yeah.
What's so weird about it?
I think it's like hearing myself is like echoing.
Yeah? Well, yeah, that's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's mic work and
Yeah.
headphone stuff. You done audiobooks?
No,
Never. I think you're missing something there.
I think so. So different. Okay.
Yeah. You just got to talk into the mic, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whenever you're speaking to the mic.
Speaking to the mic? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get close.
Usually
Okay.
we like to start off with a discussion, conversation.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
who are these young gentlemen in the building?
Oh, these are my two prints,
Yeah?
Liam and Elijah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Inspiration?
Absolutely.
How old?
6 and 12.
Ooh. Hey, guys. Hey. Look at you. How's life, guys? Yeah? How's school? Yeah? And that's what's up. Learning new things?
I homeschool.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here. And shout out to Renee, because Renee was the one that was like, yo, my friend. You know, like, okay,
Yes.
we're going to bring her in and talk about homeschool and who you are and your life and how you got to homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
Homeschooling is like something that even like I wanted to do, maybe for the wrong reasons, because I don't want to go to school. I want to stay home.
Yeah.
But obviously, in your opinion, there's a benefit there.
No, absolutely. I look at it as the freedom, the control is now in your hands. So everything that you do is catering towards your values and your beliefs, right? And even the subjects that you're teaching, all of that goes to your core values of what you think that your children need to be learning and when they need to be learning it. So there's so much beauty in homeschooling, because the biggest thing too is that you can cater your learning and their learning styles to everything that you're doing.
Listen, let's not waste any more time. Please, 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 friends, family, whoever's watching this, welcome founder of Beyond Academics, Miss Alisha. Everybody clap your hands.
Thank
Woo!
you.
Wellness check. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
I'm feeling really good. Today's a good day. I'm happy to be here. So thank you.
No problem. Let's get down to the history. Where you from? What's your background? Even maybe down to education background.
Yeah.
Let me know some details.
Yeah, so I started off with nursing. I just had a love for anything to do with like anatomy, the body, the intricacies of like how it works, but also just working with the elderly people, right? So that's where the education side just started from, where I'm just like from high school, I was just like that honor roll student, always wanted to excel above my means, trying to keep pushing myself to say, okay, what's the next best thing that I can do? And even though there were so many roadblocks in the way of whether that's student council, them just not seeing the potential that I have, this also blossomed into Beyond Academics, because everything that I'm doing came from my experience of how we are being treated in the system. And because of that, I wanted to create something that's so different from that. And I felt like throughout my high school days, university, and college, I've always had that feeling of I need to do more. I want to do more, because I'm seeing what's out there. I'm seeing the trajectory of our children, and I'm just like, this can't be it. There has to be more to this. So going into nursing, I knew that I love doing this. I love helping people. I loved working with the elderly. But I always felt like there's something more. I want to work with children. Because I was like, children, they are our future.
That's right.
Right? But it's the young scholars that I really wanted to captivate, because I look at it as, in terms of developmental, is at a young age, their brain is still molding, developing. So that's the precious times where we need to really get their mind.
That's true. Yeah. Nursing now, going back to the nursing field. How long was that tenure for you when it came to nursing? Did you start PSW? Did you go directly into nursing from high school?
Yeah, high school. I went right into registered nursing.
Oh, really, RN?
Yeah,
Yeah.
registered nursing, and it was it was a journey. It
Mm.
was tough, and I always relate my experiences back to beyond academics because things that I'm teaching my scholars now, I wish I knew when I was doing my nursing.
Mm.
Because I look at it like if we were taught these things in high school, going off to post secondary wouldn't be so hard to grasp certain concepts. Because why do we have to be 19, 20 to learn about the intricacies of the brain and the inner workings of our body? The way we learned it when I was in nursing, I'm like, man, I wish I learned it in high school so that way things would have been more easier to digest and understand.
Is that a government education issue? Like, I guess the
Hmm.
curriculum? Like,
It is.
why do you feel like we're not able to learn these things as of young? Because I remember like when my son was young, even two, he like I taught him how to like shapes and colors and
Yeah.
stuff, even from that young age.
Yeah.
So that's when I recognized that you can teach children from young and they'll retain information
I do.
even longer. Like I even taught him how to spell his name in a song format because I'm in music, right? So
Yes.
I would make a song, a jingle, so that he remembers it and it's fun to learn. And then I ask him, "What's your name?" He'll say Diorn. So it's like, why do you feel like I guess the curriculum, or instead of saying why do you feel like the government, the curriculum of the government, kind of like puts us in some sort of slave system to trap us into learning or capping our learning age to age?
Absolutely. The word is limitations. Those limitations were set from when we were born, right? To cap us, our mind, more specifically, our subconscious mind, right? Because if we are now in a certain bubble, we're not healed people. But if we go past that expectation that they say that we're supposed to be at, can you imagine how much the brain can retain and how much that we can actually get into in terms of the academics? I mean, at 4 years old, I'm already teaching my young scholar about the brain, but making it fun and engaging. So I look at this, I'm like, so why couldn't I have done that when I was working in the school or even working at the daycare? Why weren't we taught these things? Why was this in the curriculum? Well, more so, why is nobody challenging it to say, why can't we teach this now? Why do we have to wait till they're a certain age to teach them that? Right?
Yeah.
So going back to your question, there's limitations, but those limitations are set for a reason.
Do you know that reason?
Well, I look at it like if we were given all the access and all the knowledge that we need, I go right back to a healed individual. Because if the individual's not healed, then they're not producing those factory workers that they are trying to obtain, right?
Mm.
Because that's the whole ideology of the educational system,
Mm-hmm.
right? The conformity, the standardized testing. What is the goal to that?
Mm-hmm.
But now, can you imagine now if we introduce at a young age about alkaline diets and Dr. Sebi and all these people that know so much about the herbalistic approach or holistic approach to education? These children would be tapping into things that people would say they have no business of tapping into because now they would understand of how to heal themselves. Because once we understand that we are the healer of our own bodies, our own entities, we'll know how to eat properly, we'll know how to think,
Mm.
but more importantly, become critical, independent thinkers. They don't want that
Mm.
because now that's at the end of it all. What happens is now they become entrepreneurs.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, right. It's so funny you say that because I remember growing up when I was young in grade school, I think they changed the nutritional diet twice.
Yeah.
And it was at first it was very carb heavy.
Yeah.
And then I think the second time around it was less carb heavy, but less carbs, but there were still carbs in it. And me now as a diabetic learning that carbs is a no. Period. Sugar in your body.
That's it.
Nothing is that's not good. But why did the government push these agendas on us? You know, push the dairy agenda on us when we're not supposed to drink animals' milk, you know? Like what are these things here for? You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
I was even looking at my nursing book again with a different lens, and I was like, gosh, this is what they were teaching us? They're still talking about the dairy. They're still talking about certain, like, the intake of protein and the carbohydrates. And I'm like, but it's not a one size fits all. Why are we still looking at everything still as a one size fits all when it's not? Everything needs to be customized and tailored to individual needs.
Right.
So I'm looking at that, and these are the things that I train my scholars to be like, guys, you have to look at things at a different lens. Use that critical thinking and understand that, okay, what is the goal? Why are they telling us this? Because once we understand what the goal is, then you can like maneuver differently and understand that, okay, well, that's not for me. So let me use my critical thinking skills and try a different path that best suits my needs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
With beyond academics, have you looked at other curriculums on a global scale and compare, I guess, their learning skill, like their learning habits or their teaching habits? Okay, for instance, I always feel like my cousins back home in Trinidad, they're always just brighter than me because their education system is totally different and they're taught more younger than our education system. Have you did the research to like, I guess, to broaden the research for even like just your business alone?
Yeah. So even when I was at Sheridan doing my studies, getting my degree for early childhood education, one of the projects that I was looking into was like the Scandinavian countries. I was just looking at just like Finland and Denmark, and I'm just like, wow, I could just see how they just value children in the sense where it's like the daycare system or even in schools, they're teaching them how to just grow their own food. The simplest things of that, just like that just becomes a way of life. So when lunchtime comes at school time, it's like they're going out in the garden and picking what they grew. And now there's some sort of lesson around that. And everybody is just so cohesive in that understanding of like, we grow our own food and we're going to have like, learning activities around that. But growing your own food is so huge, and just showing the scholars that now, it's just like, they understand that, okay, when I understand what I'm putting in my body, then I know that, okay, what I'm doing is right, and I could heal myself based off of what I am growing, right?
Is that something that you implement in your curriculum?
I do, because I show them how, a seed fermentation grows into something, but also the simple things of like, you guys, when you're eating certain fruits, don't throw that out. Even though they're telling you to throw that out, don't do that, right?
Like
and
the seed could make it more.
Exactly. And it's just like that concept alone, like their brains is like, oh, because we always keep throwing those out. I'm like, but don't. Let's experiment and let's see. Let's actually hold on to that. Let's plant it. We keep looking at it, coming back to it. And I'm like, look, remember that seed that they said to throw out? Look at it now. It is blossoming now.
Oh, it's so crazy that you mention it, because even it's just, like, why do we throw out our seeds when we can go and pitch it in the backyard and like grow more fruits? Just that one fruit that we might have bought from the store could last us for a long time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's remarkable, even just right down to the lettuce.
Yeah.
Right? Don't throw out the stalk part. Put that into soil and you'll see it just replenish, but it continues to replenish itself. Just like scallion. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right?
Look at this. You learn every day, guys. Even at 40 years old, you learn every single day.
No, you really do.
Crazy.
You really do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's crazy.
It's the simple things, right? You just have to make it fun and engaging, because the goal is to, instill lifelong learners.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
So nursing,
yes,
you got tired of it, or I guess, right? You wanted to make a career shift.
I did.
So was the first thought beyond academics, or did you have to like find that?
Yeah, beyond academics didn't come just yet. When I was doing nursing, I just felt that inclination of like, I just want to work with children. And then I had my own children. So I feel like it went hand in hand, where that interest and that came from. I'm just like, okay, I want to work with children. And then that's the avenue I went into. So from there, that's when the education really began for me, because then I was working in the school system. I was working in before and after school program. I was working in the daycare, like anything to do with education, the youth and the children. I was there. I just wanted to saturate myself in it, learn more, see what's up. And then that's when, I just got a shock of like, this is it. This can't be. I just did all that schooling for them just to tell me that now I'm being limited to what we can teach and what I can say and how I want to implement certain things into the curriculum. I can't even do that. I'm like, that doesn't seem right to me.
Mm.
Because I'm always looking at it like, as from a culture perspective, I'm like, but I want to change the trajectory of our children.
Right.
And I'm looking at my children, I'm just like, doesn't make sense because your best interest is actually not first.
Mm.
So I need to create something where it is, where it's beyond just the academics, but it's just life skills. Right?
Yeah. So that's when Beyond Academics came to fruition.
Yeah.
How challenging was it to start up?
Very. Very. I mean, homeschooling, I'm realizing is becoming a thing now. And I always give reference to, it's so funny because when I'm making my posts and doing these hashtags, the homeschooling hashtags are crazy now. Before, it used to be 100 or fewer on the hashtags.
Yeah.
Now it's like 1 million plus. I was like,
shit.
interesting. So that just opened my eyes too. I'm just like, homeschooling is becoming such a popular thing now. But when I started, it was hard. It was hard because anytime I'm teaching my scholars about any sort of lessons, I like to have the application to it. So we're going to go out. So if I'm teaching financial literacy, then we're going to go out to the store and I'm going to show you guys, okay, how to use a credit card, right? We're looking at, okay, how do I purchase this? Or this is a sale item, or if I only have $5, what can I buy with that? But make sure that you're including the tax in there so you have enough. So little things like that where we're going out now into the community during the hours where children should be at school, the stares I would get. Like, are they sick? I'm like, no, I'm homeschooling. This is our tribe. They're like, but why are you doing that? There's socialization. All these things. Oh, they're lacking. Lacking in what? And then sometimes I would have my scholars style them. I'm just like, yeah, okay, guys, tell them about the brain. Everybody's silent. Right? Because they can label the brain. They can tell me about parts of Africa. They can tell me about the Moors. Right? They can tell me about Black inventors. All these things that adults don't even know. So I had to really stay grounded in my beliefs. I had to stay grounded in my core values and not waver from that because it's hard when you're moving in a space where nobody tapped into. Because when I wanted to do this, nobody was doing it. Nobody ventured off. And I know it's hard because when we're in that autopilot of life, we get very comfortable. I was comfortable, but I says, no, enough is enough. My children are getting older. I'm just looking around and saying, like, a change needs to happen. Not for my children, if not for them, for the culture. Right?
That's facts. I noticed that you call them young scholars. Where did that come from? Who coined that phrase? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because when I'm reading my history books, these are the scholars that I'm looking at. These are the scholars that I look up to. And I'm looking at that to be like, why am I calling you guys students? You're so much more than that. You guys are scholars. Because now when we call them these names, we are now, it's almost like you're speaking into existence of their capabilities. I'm not putting limits on you. You're not a student. You're a scholar. So when they come in, I'm just like, young scholar, what did you do today? Young scholar, how was your day going? Right?
No, that's dope. That's almost like in engineering, like, you know, instead of calling them customers, we're clients. You know what I'm saying? It's more, I would say it's more, I would have friendlier touch. It's not so like, customer feels like, okay, I'm going to purchase and leave. Like, you know, a client is more like, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has that same effect to me. Going back though to, oh my God, my mind just blank. Hold on. We're talking about, when you were in the store, like when you go to the store to do your
Like
field
teaching.
trip with the financial stuff, and someone will say, "Hey, what about the social aspect of it?"
Yeah.
I always feel like being social is important. Where do the young scholars get their social skills from?
I mean, they get it from each other, right? Because when these people are saying these things, I mean, there's 8 of us, right?
Okay.
So I'm just like, homeschooling for us wasn't like 8-hour a day. because it was anywhere between 2 to 4. So after that, then the parents would do as they will with their child afterwards, or that we do field trips, or we involve community involvements like on the weekends. So now we're getting, students from the school or whatnot that's partaking in activities or field trips that we're going into.
Right.
Because I know,
right.
socialization is a big thing, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, but they're not missing out on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're still ingrained in the community.
It is, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it, because I Beyond Academics is a community movement. So even if you're not part of Beyond Academics in terms of enrolled in our programs and stuff, you're still part of the community. So when Miss Alisha is doing any workshops or going field trips or sleepovers, I'm inviting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is ingrained into Beyond Academics.
Okay. So it's a class then. It's not just like, it's not one-on-one. Although you do offer that, right?
I do, yeah.
But it's more of like how was like the hours? Like, yeah, because you said 2 to 4. Like, what's the hours like? Like, how was? Okay, you know what? Run me through a day at school. If I was to go back to school as a kid.
So right now we are actually transitioning online.
Okay.
But prior to that transitioning happen, it was really like just 2 hours. So it would be either 10 to 12. But this all started from the parents. The parents are the ones that came to me and we created the schedule. Because again, I do everything and I move from a place of experience. And because I seen what the hustle and bustle was for racing to school, waking up early in the morning, trying to like cram down breakfast and then drop off the kiss and ride stuff, I was like, no, I want to create something where there's no rush. So this is where my approach when anybody is looking into enrolling, I'm just like, okay, so what schedule works for you guys? And then we have a poll. And based off of that poll, the parents are like, you know what, 10 to 12 works for us. And if we're too far, guess what? They created like a hybrid schedule. So we would do half online and half in person. And again, that stemmed from the parents.
Right.
Because I was looking for sustainability. I don't want to be the one to be like, okay, guys, this is what it is Monday to Friday. I'm moving from a place of how can I help you? So let's sit down and you tell me what schedule works.
Yeah.
So that's always been, the foundation of our scheduling.
And now that you're transitioning to online, how is that going to look? You're not going to have no students physically.
Well, the physical part is when we're doing our workshops.
Yes, besides that, yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of like online, we just do whether it's 2 hours or 3 hours a day.
Yeah,
and then
I was thinking, does the hours become longer now than if you're online?
No, not necessarily.
Does it need to be longer? Well, no, I guess not necessarily, right?
No, okay. It doesn't, because we also, when we're offline, there's independent studies as well.
Okay.
So there is still ways that even though we're offline, you can still get in touch with Miss Alisha because we have group chats.
Right.
So within those group chats, they're messaging me like, Miss Alisha, can you help me on this question? I'm like, okay, sure. Just make sure when you're done this homework, you submit it. So we have like an online portal where you can submit your work, and then I can see like, their scores and stuff like that of the work that they completed and projects that they have to do. So yeah, so that works. It's the 2 hours or 3 hours online with my scholars is definitely beneficial for them.
Starting something like this, say someone wants to do something like this as well. Like, is there funding, granting? Is there pushback? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does one even like start something like this?
Yeah, I'm learning now about converting into like a nonprofit, because I heard with nonprofits, there's a lot of grants. And that's something that I'm looking into now. But prior to, it was just based off of savings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
6 years later, because I was just so neck deep into it that I just didn't look elsewhere to see, okay, how could I do this or how could I fund that?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the need to just get this up and started was just so diring at the time, it felt. So yeah, I just started off of just with my savings. Yeah.
That is crazy. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
That's all savings from your nursing stuff. And
nursing, yeah. And even with ECE, working in the school. Because even when I was working in the school, I already had my exit plan. I'm just like, yeah, I'm leaving soon. Yeah. Yeah. And even though I tried to get other teachers on board, they just weren't there yet. They can understand. They're just like, yeah, I know, I can't stand it. Like, but we're so limited, right? And we're seeing that not enough resources are being allocated to places where it needs to be. So it's like, 30 students, one teacher,
Mhm.
and then they have all these behaviors. And I'm just like, but are they really behaviors that you guys really think that they are? Because if we dive deep into those, some of those are not even behaviors that we are even should be diagnosing.
Mm.
Some of these behaviors could just be simple as they're just overstimulated. They are bored.
Yeah.
The lesson plan is not conducive to their learning style.
Yeah.
Like I also tutor as well too. So the students or the scholars that I'm tutoring, it's always the same thing. It's just like my teacher says I can't do this, so I have to stay behind and do this. You know what that plays on their confidence?
Yeah. It makes you feel like if my teacher says I can't do something and I have to stay behind, it's almost like okay, like it doesn't give me any like drive. It loses my like determination and motivation.
Yeah.
No, that I remember a lot of my report cards was I couldn't like focus or I couldn't stay still. But I always
Yeah.
felt like what you're teaching me is boring. Like
Well, that's
I don't
it.
want to learn this.
That's it.
And that's when it's
And this is why it's so important when you're teaching. It's like you have to make it relatable. You have to
Yeah.
make it fun.
yeah.
And especially with tougher concepts like anatomy that I'm teaching my son,
Yeah.
it's like sing-alongs.
Mhm.
Sing-alongs is key. Going back to what you were saying before, like make it a jam. You'd be surprised how much we retain.
Yeah.
Music is just one of those beautiful things that I'm just like, you incorporate it.
Mhm.
Incorporate it into your lesson plans. They are not too young. They're not too old to learn about, certain songs or create songs that have to do about the brain or have to do about the heart.
Mhm.
Because I look at them now and I look at everything that they accomplished up until this point. I'm just like, I wish I learned that when I was in nursing.
You're right.
Right. So I'm just trying to give them the kickstart that, we never got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there like an age limit or like like is there a comfortable age group that you would want to start working with? And when does homeschooling end?
That's a great question. I like to start at around like 3. And in terms of ending, there's no real ending because I homeschooled a young scholar that was 16.
Oh.
But her mom knew that the school is not it for her. She doesn't want to do the high school because she already had that entrepreneur mindset.
Mhm.
So it's almost like that understanding when you're enrolling into Beyond Academics is like that's kind of like the path that you're leading your child into,
Mhm.
like that entrepreneur mindset. Because with that, it's like we base so much on like, project based. We base things on like life skills.
Yeah.
So it's just that understanding with the parent, knowing that this is what our curriculum is and this is our philosophy.
Mhm.
Then there's no real age that you can be like, yeah, only up until 10 or up until 12. Not at all.
16 is interesting.
It is. And just even with that too, is just knowing who to leverage in the community to come in and facilitate whatever you need to facilitate based off of what, the child likes to do. And for her, it was drawing. It was like, like her artistic skills was amazing along with my son. So even with that, it's just like we had so much artists and pianists. I was like, okay, so we're going to utilize that and leverage people in the community to now help them with those capabilities.
That's so dope, bro. I could see that, because it's like what's a plan for a 16-year-old child that's lost but is heart set somewhere else and not school? Like, it's almost
That's
like you
it.
become a life coach. And that the teacher has transformed into like a
Ooh.
life skills coach more than like a homeschool teacher,
Well, that's what I feel though. Even a therapist too.
Yeah.
And I only say that because like, I've opened up my home to so many families because I wanted to show up in my most authentic self. And in doing that, I felt like being in my home was the most beautiful place that, I can really captivate the minds of these young scholars and having these sleepovers and things like that because parents are now even involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always wanted that because working in the system, like there's a limitation in terms of like, how much you can really extend yourself into the home life.
Yeah, exactly.
And Beyond Academics, are you kidding me? Now I have like full realm of like, we're now sitting down, we're now talking, you guys are now sleeping over.
Yeah.
And now we really can dive deep and like, okay, now what's going on?
It's really like, you know, when they say like it takes a village to build the child, it
That's-
really has become that.
It actually has. It actually has.
Really dope.
Yeah, thank you.
What about the whole aspect of like accreditation, like high school diploma, university, bachelor's degrees, you know? What about those type of accreditations? Like, you know, especially being in a whole homeschool format, is that like something to say like, okay, we can plan for your GED, or we can plan for maybe you being a mature student, like, you know, what would be, or is school even just out the question and just continuing to just live life without having paper to back your credentials or your knowledge?
I think the way to go around that, or the way I've been going around that, is just documentation. Because when you have documentation, then that will kind of leave doors open for you if you decide that, okay, you know what, I want to go this route instead. And if that's the case, then okay, you apply it as a mature student or whatever the case may be. But as long as you have that documentation to say you've completed this, you did this, and so on and so forth, the whole idea is just providing opportunities.
Yeah.
Giving them options. Because once you enroll, I'm not saying, okay, you have to be here forever. Homeschooling is a thing that's, you know, locked in forever, because I do hear stories where, you know, they turn around and be like, okay, yeah, this is not for us. And that is fine, but I have to do my part to document. So that way, if it does come to that, you have the documentation side of things to say you completed this amount of the curriculum or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Beyond Academics sounds like an amazing program.
Thank you.
Tell me about these books though. What's up with these books right here?
Yeah. Okay. So this book here, it's called You Can Be an Inventor Too. So this was illustrated by Elijah, my son.
Hey.
Yes. He illustrated this book.
That's dope.
Yeah, with so much love and care and intention, because I created these workbooks too, just based off of the curriculum that I teach. Yeah. So this one here is like, you know, history, and this one here is anatomy. So this one here is about our organs. So everything to do with organs, but I also have it where they're learning about the organs, but they also get to color as well too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
so
nice.
With both my workbooks, I wanted them to be like dual learning. So you're learning about Black inventors, but you're also learning about math skills.
Yeah.
All right. So math and English, cursive writing, projects. And I wanted to teach it at an earlier age, like I was explaining before too, because once these children see at an early age that, wow, I can be an inventor, or an inventor looks just like me, it opens your mind to so many capabilities, so much possibilities, and even showing them that, you know, STEM did come from us. Innovation did come from us, right? These are things that even as adults, we don't even know. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Because in books up until this day, is like we're not seeing Black inventors in our workbooks as we should, especially at a young age. So the whole philosophy of this is like, I want to show them at a very, very young age that they are capable. They are capable of doing anything through perseverance and determination and, you know, commitment to excellence.
That's what's up. Is the program Afrocentric?
Yes.
Like, okay, I know that sounds weird.
I know what you mean though.
Okay.
I do know what you mean.
Okay.
Because it's not limited to that. Because I did have other cultures enroll.
Right.
So it's one of those things where if you see it, you see beyond academics, and it's something that, you know, aligns with what you want for your child, then by all means enroll, because this is something that needs to be taught to everybody.
Right.
Especially when it comes to history and anatomy. And I'm so focused on these two particular topics because I just look at it that we're not being taught these things. And if we are, it's not until how old, right?
Until maybe if you want to take a course in university.
Right? Or even like, right? Or even like CPR. Like these are things that I'm showing these guys.
Right.
I'm like, no, you guys need to know like the basic of basics.
Yeah, even
How do-
CPR, that's important because what if they're
yeah.
at the beach and their friend needs help? At least they're 6 years old, knowing how to do CPR, saving someone's life.
And that's what it comes down to. These are the life skills that I'm talking about. I'm just like, is a 4-year-old too young? Definitely not.
No. If they can speak and use tablets and phones and swipe.
But let's even talk about that though. Even if they can't speak though,
Mm.
because that's just like even reading to these young children at a very young age. You read to them, we're thinking like, oh, they don't understand. Oh, but they do.
Mm.
They do. Their brain is soaking up everything. And then once they reach that point where they can actually speak and talk,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, so you were listening. Because you see them moving in a way where it's like, oh, okay. You were understanding what I was saying.
Exactly.
And that's just like when I was teaching my son or my young scholars anatomy.
Mhm.
Anatomy is not something easy to learn. So when I'm seeing them pick up on these different organs and how they work
Mhm.
and how they work together, it's like, wow, it's remarkable to the
Mhm.
point where it's just like, oh, Miss Alisha, my trachea is hurting me. Right?
Yeah.
Or went down the wrong tube. I'm like, okay, which tube was it? Your eating tube or your breathing tube?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are the conversations. It's like, expanding their vocabulary.
Mhm.
And if we continue to do that at a young age, can you imagine now when they're 20, when they're 30, they're going to be unstoppable
Yeah, exactly.
because someone took the time to show them that I see you.
Mhm.
But more importantly, you're capable. Don't let anybody ever put limits on you,
That's right.
right? Because I'm
Yeah.
big on academic excellence. Like, no. And this is how we change the trajectory of our children. We show
Mhm.
them like, okay, yeah, they says that by this age, you should be doing this. But no, by this age, you're going to learn CPR. You're going to learn how to cook. You're going to know financial literacy. You're going to know how to do budgeting.
Mm.
Right? You're going to know how to, use your credit cards, open up banks.
Mm.
But more importantly, not just any banks. What about banks with cashbacks or credit cards with cashbacks? Little things like that, right?
Yes. Oh, you're right.
It's the little things that will make up to be big once they get older. And they'll thank us because we took the time.
You guys are great parents.
Yes.
1,000%. You guys are great parents because, like,
Yeah, thank
it
you.
always goes back to us teaching the
Yes.
youth. And if we're being not so great parents, then we're gonna, and let's hope not, our children become not so raised, or it becomes difficult for them to articulate in the world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think a lot of the young parents too are forgetting that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That they need to have a steady focus on the upraising of the children and making them learn like these skills from early. Otherwise,
Yes.
they're like kind of dooming their children to fail. You know what I'm saying?
They
So
are.
that message should be put out there more.
It's definitely true. It starts at home, right?
It starts at home.
It starts at home. But unfortunately, some parents, they just autopilot of life
Yeah, and
gets the best of us. And
it's not their fault.
this is why, I'm here because I'm trying to help them to say, I give them the resources that they need. Right? Because
Yeah.
again, it takes a village. Once we understand that collectively, not just at Beyond Academics, but collectively, just having that mindset, help your neighbor out.
Help your neighbor out.
Help your neighbor out. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to push our culture
Mm-hmm.
and leverage each other. Leverage is a big thing, and we have to understand that. Like, Miss Alisha doesn't know it all. So if I don't know, if there's a gap in something that I don't know about, I need to leverage somebody.
Tell them how to get in touch with you. Where can they follow you?
Yes.
How can they talk to you, speak to you about homeschooling more in depth? Your camera's over there.
Oh, okay. Yes, so my Instagram handle it's Beyond Academics. My email is beyondacademics111@gmail.com. I am here to help, to support, to uplift, and empower anybody that is, going through whether it's a homeschooling transition or even looking for resources or even a curriculum, right? Because I like to customize my curriculums depending on the scholar's needs and their capabilities. So Miss Alisha's here. Just send me a message and I am gladly to help.
That's what's up. And are you and Renee going to do a lot more lives?
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yes, we are.
No, I seen it because you guys are going to go live at 8:00. Yes, this might not be out by the time, but yeah, I seen that you guys are going to go live, and that's great. About
Yes.
the light bulb. What was the guy's name?
Louis Latimer.
Latimer. I see. I almost remembered.
Yes.
That's dope. That's dope.
Louis Latimer. And speaking of that too, like I even had not just young scholars, but I had like older people purchasing this book just because they're like, I have no idea about Black inventors. I had no idea that, Patricia Bath invented the laser probe. They're like, what's that? Or like Garrett Morgan or like Alexander Miles. I'm just like, yeah. So this is also used like as a resource. Because we were like, I had no idea. I'm just like, I know. And this is why I have work to do, or we have work to do.
That's right. Okay, you know what?
Yes.
Before you leave, right off the top, camera's right there again. Let's do a quick "Did you know" segment, and let the people know like what you want the people to know. Like, did you know that? And then I want you to say that. I was saying that thing that you need to let people know, and I make it like 5 things that people should know.
5 things?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you know that Alexander Miles invented the automatic elevator door? Did you know?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know who Alexander Miles is. But now I know.
Right? Okay, fair enough. Or did you know that Patricia Bath invented the laser probe?
What's a laser probe?
So the laser probe is something that helped patients that had cataract. So cataract is like a film that is over the eyelids. It's almost like, think of it like as a dirty lens. And so like, you can't see properly. So she invented this laser probe to correct that.
Oh, shoot.
The cataract in the eye.
Wow. Really?
So yeah. So she really pivoted like science, medicine in that way. And it's like, are we paying homage to her? Do we understand that Patricia Bath really set way for so many other inventions, like to this day?
That's crazy.
Or even like Louis Latimer now, right? So like we're on our live talking about him who invented the light bulb filament. And it's like simple things of lighting up the room, but creating a long-lasting filament, carbon filament, so that way, the light bulb is not burning out within seconds, which it was with Thomas Edison. Because with Thomas Edison's light bulb that he invented, it burnt out within a matter of hours, but it wasn't sustainable, nor was it affordable. So Louis Latimer was like, you know what? I need to invent something that everybody can afford, but it's also practical. And that's why he invented the long-lasting carbon filament.
Shout out to Louis Latimer.
Louis Latimer, yes. So what am I at now, 2?
You're
3?
at 3.
I'm at 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So one interesting thing about anatomy that I like doing with my scholars is that understanding that every part of the body is so intricate, which we know, or we should know, but it's just beautiful to see how each system works together. The nervous system, the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, the immune system, all these systems, how they're so intricate. But more importantly, is just like how nutrition really feeds on the system. Because, and this goes back to you guys, like eating right, eating proper food, knowing what you're putting in your body, looking at the ingredients, because simple ingredients is key. And this is another thing that I teach my scholars. Look at the ingredients. What are the first 3 that we're seeing, right? Because depending on what the first 3 is, they'll have such a detrimental on your body, and it will affect each system because they are so intricate and intertwined that they all work together. We have to really be aware of, should I be eating that? What is that going to be doing to my body? Is it going to be clogging my arteries? Right? Yeah. Simple things like that. And another interesting fact, just going back to Black history, because I love my Black history. George Crumb, who invented the potato chip.
What?
Yeah.
Crumb? George Crumb?
George Crumb.
What? Where's he from?
I don't even know where he's from.
Should ask ChatGPT. Hold on. Let's
ChatGPT. Speaking of ChatGPT, he knows everything.
I mean,
almost anyways.
Almost. George Crumb. K or C?
And you know he invented that by mistake as well, too?
No way.
Yeah.
George Crumb, 1824 to 1914, was an African-American and Native American chef widely credited with inventing potato chips.
Yes.
Look at you.
Potato chips.
Born in Saratoga Springs, New York, Crumb worked as a chef at Moon's Lake House, a high-end resort in the mid-19th century. The origin of the potato chip is tied to a legendary incident in 1853. A customer at Moon Lake's house reportedly complained that Crumb's French fries were too thick and soggy.
Yeah.
In response, Crumb sliced the potatoes as thin as possible, fried them until crisp, and heavily salted them, intending to annoy that diner. Surprisingly, the customer loved the result, and the dish became a hit. These Saratoga chips eventually evolved into the modern potato chip.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Crumb never patented his invention.
So
Education.
speaking of patent too.
Oh, what? What? Really?
Yes. That was a big thing back then.
Okay.
I mean, we invented so much, but we didn't have the access to patent half the things that we invented.
Okay, so we didn't have the. Okay, yeah. But it's the 1800s and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wouldn't let that guy slide with a patent.
Well, Lewis Latimer was one of them where it was like he was so good at his work that people seen what he was doing and would use his mechanical drawings to patent certain things like the telephone.
Really? Before Bell?
No, this was around the same time.
Oh.
Bell came to him. Alexander Graham Bell?
Came to Latimer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things I look at his story and I'm just like, wow, that's real perseverance. In the sense where it's like, you're not allowing societal disadvantages, I would say, really stop you from what you are trying to do. You let your work show. You let your work shine because the right ones will see. Regardless of discrimination or racism, at the end of the day, they're looking at like, okay, yeah, he's the only one that knows how to do this. We need him. And back then, patent was a thing where it was just like, it's time sensitive.
Yeah.
So he's looking at it like, who do I know who can do this?
Yeah.
Latimer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is dope.
All right. So these are the things that when we understand our rich culture and our ancestry, it's just like, it fuels us. It does, because I see it in my teachings. And when I'm teaching my scholars, I just see like the confidence of like, wow, we did that. I'm like, yeah, you guys, we did. So now when we're moving forward, it's like a mentality now that we're instilling.
Yeah.
So that way now it's like, think of it like when we're understanding ourselves, it's character building. So now when I want to introduce subjects and topics, it's like they're ready to learn, they're eager to learn.
Yeah.
Because, we spent time, before the academics, we spent time building them up.
Yeah.
So they can know thyself. Because when they know thyself, then we can tap into the academics. But where are we going and tapping into academics first thing if this particular being is just so lost and has no ground because of the traumas from society, the traumas from school? So much so when we're doing our tests, I don't even say test, I say checkup.
Checkup, yeah.
Like I changed the language. Because test is a thing where it's just like, it's stress.
It's stress attached to that, yeah. Exams.
There's so much stress.
Yeah.
Like
the kids at the university, you can see the stress. You can feel it over here. It's like when they talk about exam week and everybody just so like, you know what I'm saying?
When I was in university, it was stressful. The library, the dorms, like studying.
Yeah.
It was stress. There was no like collectiveness in the sense because we were taught that by yourself, do this by yourself. And I'm just like, why are we teaching this for so long? Every man for themselves mentality.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog, exactly. Right?
Madness. But yeah, man, listen, we could talk all day.
I know, I'm ready to go off into another topic.
No, you just got to come back.
Yeah.
You just got to come back.
Definitely.
Next semester or the next season or
the
next book. Hopefully we get. Is there another book coming?
There is, you guys. So there's a couple, but one that I feel so dear talking about is a journal for boys. And this is another one that Elijah's working on with me because we're looking at it like, boys, do you guys have a safe space to just unwind and speak your truth? Is there a space for you guys to just be you and say, did I feel misunderstood today? If I did, how could I have done that differently? Or how could I have approached that person? Or maybe you felt like you couldn't approach them at that time. Write it down. Because guess what? They bottle all these things up.
But how do you break away the stigma of journals specifically being for women or for young girls? How do you break young boys into telling them that it's okay to do that?
Oh, you just have to start. That's just like with beyond academics. I mean, everybody's like, oh, what are you doing? Stay at the school. It's the same mentality of you just have to start, because with anything new, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, is that going to work? Well, it may not work for you because maybe this wasn't your calling, but this is my calling. And I know what my calling is. So because I know that, I'm very grounded in what I'm doing. And, you know, people see that passion.
Yeah.
And because they see that passion, it breaks through to their heart. Because I tap in with the parents and be like, this is something that is going to really revolutionize our thinking and our culture and our children and our boys. Because look at the men, some of the men that they've become, some of them are just so closed off.
Yeah.
So then we have to backpedal and be like, why are they like that? Maybe because they didn't have that space or even that okay to be like, it's okay to cry. Yeah. It's okay to write. It's okay to journal. That's not a girl thing. Who told you that? Because it shouldn't be. Writing is writing. Expressing is expressing. It's human nature. So that's what we need to normalize. So what it is I just use my platform to spread that word.
And maybe just the journals word is the word that makes it more feminine, where you might have
that's true.
Or maybe a diary. That's too. It's like, maybe journal is fine. Like, it's just, I feel like young boys writing in books is like, it always goes back to poetry or something like that. And it doesn't have to be poetry, you could just actually just write how you feel, write your thoughts, I guess it doesn't have to be in an artsy way.
Yeah. I think it's all in the wording too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something too that I'm trying to be intentional. And I also use Elijah too, because when I'm going through it, I'm just like, how does that sound? And he'll tell me like, yeah, Mom, that's too girly. Like, change that up or change that picture. Like, make it more, speaking to boys. So I use them. I'm like, okay, so help me out.
Yeah.
Because I want to tap into your mind so that way the world can see this and benefit off of this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to create something you're not getting advice from the person who you're creating this for, right?
Exactly. You got to go right to the target market.
You got to go. You do.
That's a business tactic right
there. It is.
Yeah. No,
it is.
It's smart. No, it's honestly, what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
You guys are, man, there needs to be more people like y'all.
It takes a village, man. It takes a village, and I love my family. My family is the biggest supporter, and we're here. So thank you guys.
We're here, man.
We're here.
We're here, man. This is the Mad Them Show. It's your boy Vagez. Gutsy's on vacation. Until next time, thanks for watching Beyond Academics. Y'all make sure you hit her up, man. But we out of here.
All right, peace.